Hiya! Welcome to Sniper's Rest. Sniper's Rest is the last best rest stop in the here and there, the place between where you're coming from and where you're going. I am Sniper Shadow, and I reside here in Sniper's Rest as a guide and a custodian to those who pass through here. I visit the worlds within the multiverse often, but I am always here to guide and care for travelers such as yourself that pass through the here and there. Welcome, my friend. Sorry, let me just put this down. What am I doing? Well, my dear traveler, no doubt you've noticed the chill in the air as of late in the here and there. It's winter. Now, the here and there is a notably hot environment, but we do get winter, however mild it is in comparison to other places in the multiverse. So, it is scarf knitting season, and this week I knit one for one of the staff here. He will unfortunately be leaving Sniper's Rest at the beginning of next month, because he's finally found his place in the multiverse. I wanted to send him off with something to remember us by. I have several other orders for scarves as well, so no doubt you will see me knitting for some time when you stop by. And as always, please take a rest here before continuing your journey. Today we continue reading the series of short stories by H.P. Lovecraft. Our tale today is another fantasy. It was written in 1921 and first published in the July-August 1935 issue of The Galleon. It is called The Quest of Iranon. Let us begin. Into the granite city of Teloth wandered the youth, vine-crowned, his yellow hair glistening with myrrh and his purple robe torn with burrs of the mountain Sidrak that lies across the antique bridge of stone. The men of Teloth are dark and stern, and dwell in square houses, and with frowns they asked the stranger whence he had come, and what were his name and fortune. So the youth answered, "I am Iranon, and I come from Aira, a far city that I recall only dimly, but seek to find again. I am a singer of songs that I learned in the far city, and my calling is to make beauty with these things I remember of childhood. My wealth is in little memories and dreams, and in hopes that I sing in gardens when the moon is tender and the west wind stirs the lotus buds." When the men of Teloth heard these things, they whispered to one another, for though in the granite city there is no laughter or song, the stern men sometimes look to Carthian hills in the spring and think of the lutes of distant Onai, whereof travellers have told. And thus thinking, they bade the stranger to stay and sing in the square before the tower of Min. Though they liked not the colour of his tattered robe, nor the myrrh in his hair, nor the chaplet of vine leaves, nor the youth in his golden face. At evening Iranon sang, and while he sang, an old man prayed, and a blind man said he saw a nimbus over the singer's head. But most of the men in Teloth yawned, and some laughed, and some went away to sleep. For Iranon told nothing useful, singing only his memories, his dreams, and his hopes. I remember the twilight, the moon, and the soft songs, and the window where I was rocked to sleep. And through the window was the street where the golden lights came, where the shadows danced on the houses of marble. I remember the square of moonlight on the floor that was not like any other light, and the visions that danced in the moonbeams when my mother sang to me. And too I remember the sun of morning, bright above the many-coloured hills in summer, and the sweetness of the flowers born on the south wind that made the trees sing. O Aria, city of marble and beryl, how many are thy beauties! How loved I the warmth and fragrant groves of the high-line Nareth, or the falls of the tiny Kara that flowed through the verdant valley. In those groves and in that vale the children wove wreaths for one another, and at dusk I dreamed strange dreams under the yath trees on the mountain, as I saw below me the lights of the city and the curving Nithra reflecting a ribbon of stars. And in the city were palaces of veined and tinted marble, with golden domes and painted walls and green gardens with
cerulean pools and crystal fountains. Often I played in the gardens and waded in the pools and lay and dreamed among the pale flowers under the trees. And sometimes at sunset I would climb the long hilly street to the citadel and the open place and look down upon Aira, the magic city of marble and beryl, splendid in a robe of golden flame. Long have I missed thee, Aira, for I was but young when we went into exile, but my father was thy king, and I shall come again to thee, for it is so decreed of fate. All through the 7 lands I have sought thee, and some day I again shall reign over thy groves and thy gardens, thy streets and palaces, and sing to men who shall know of where I sing, and not laugh nor turn away. For I am Iranon, who was prince in Aria.
That night the men of Teloth lodged the stranger in a stable, and in the morning the Iranon came to him, and told him to go to the shop of Akoth, the cobbler, and to be apprenticed to him.
But I am Iranon, a singer of songs, he said, and I have no heart for the cobbler's trade.
All in Teloth must toil, replied the Iranon, for it is law. Then said Iranon,
Wherefore do ye toil? Is it not that ye may live and be happy? And if ye toil only that ye may toil more, when shall happiness find you? Ye toil to live, but it is not life, made of beauty and song. And if ye suffer no singers among you, where shall be the fruits of your toil? Toil without song is like a weary journey without an end. Were death not more pleasing?
But the Iranon was sullen, and did not understand, and rebuked the stranger. Thou art a strange youth, and I like not thy face nor thy voice. The words thou speakest are blasphemy, for the gods of Teloth have said that toil is good. Our gods have promised us a haven of light beyond death, where there shall be rest without end, and crystal coldness amidst which none shall vex his mind with the thoughts or his eyes with beauty. Go thou then to Akoth the cobbler, or be gone out of the city by sunset. All here must serve, and song is folly. So Iranon went out of the stable and walked over the narrow stone street between the gloomy square houses of granite, seeking something green in the air of spring. But in Teloth was nothing green, for all was of stone. On the faces of men were frowns, but by the stone embankment along the sluggish river Zuro, a sate young boy with sad eyes was gazing into the water to spy green budding branches washed down from the hills by the freshets. And the boy said to him,
Art thou not indeed of whom the Iranon tell, who seekest a far city in a fair land? I am Romnod, and born of blood of Teloth, but I am not old in the ways of the granite city, and yearn daily for warm groves in distant lands of beauty and song. Beyond the Carithian hills lieth Onai, the city of lutes and dancing, which men whisper of and say is both lovely and terrible. Thither I would go there if I were old enough to find the way, and thither shouldst thou go, and thou wouldst sing, and have men listen to thee. Let us leave the city of Teloth, and fare together among the hills of spring. Thou shalt shew me the ways of travel, and I will attend thy songs at evening, when the stars, one by one, bring dreams to the minds of dreamers. And peradventure, it may be that Onai, the city of lutes and the dancing, even the far Aria, thou seekest, for it is told that thou hast not known Aria since old days, and a name often changeth. Let us go to Onai,
O Iranon, of the golden head, where men shall know our longing and welcome us as brothers, nor ever laugh nor frown at what we say. And Iranon answered,
Be it so, small one. If any in this stone place yearn for beauty, he must seek the mountains and beyond. And I would not leave thee to pine by the sluggish Zero. But think not that delight and understanding dwell just across the Carithian hills. Nor in any spot thou canst find in a day's, or in a year's, or in a lustrum's journey. Behold, when I was small like thee, I dwelt in the valley of Narathos, by the frigid Zachari, where none would listen to my dreams. And I told myself that when I was older, I would go to Sinara on the southern slope and sing to smiling dromedary men in the marketplace. But when I went to Sinara, I found the dromedary men all drunken and ribald, and saw that their songs were not as mine. So I travelled in a barge down the Ziyari to the onyx-walled Jiran, when the soldiers at Jiran laughed at me and drove me out, so that I wandered to many other cities. I have seen Teloth, that is below the great Karakact, and I have gazed on the marsh where Sanath once stood. I have been to Thara and Alek and Cathadorion on the winding river of Ai, and I have dwelt long in Olatho, in the land of Lamar. But, though I have had listeners sometimes, they have ever been few, and I know welcome shall only await me in Aria, the city of marble and beryl where my father once ruled as king. So for Aria shall we seek, though it were well to visit distant and loot-blessed Onai across the Carthian hills, which may indeed be Aria, though I think not. Aria's beauty is past imagining, and none can tell of it without rapture, whilst of Onai the camel-drivers whisper leeringly.
At the sunset, Iranon and small Romnod went forth from Teloth, and for long wandered amidst the green hills and cool forests. The way was rough and obscure, and never did they seem nearer to Onai, the city of lutes and dancing. But in the dusk, as the stars came out, Iranon would sing of Aria and its beauties, and Romnod would listen, so that they were both happy after a fashion. They ate plentifully of fruit and red berries, and marked not the passing of time. But many years must have slipped away. Small Romnod was now not so small, and spoke deeply instead of shrilly, though Iranon was always the same, and decked his golden hair with vines and fragrant resins found in the woods. So it came to pass one day that Romnod seemed older than Iranon, though he had been very small when Iranon had found him, watching for green budding branches in the Teloth, beside the sluggish stone-banked Zoro. Then one night, when the moon was full, the travellers came to a mountain crest and looked down upon the myriad lights of Onai. Peasants had told them they were near, and Iranon knew this was not his native city of Aria. The lights of Onai were not like those of Aria, for they were harsh and glaring, while the lights of Aria shone as softly and as magically as shone the moonlight on the floor by the window where Aranon's mother once rocked him to sleep with song. But Onai was a city of lutes and dancing, so Iranon and Romnod went down the steep slope that they might find men whom songs and dreams would bring pleasure. And when they were to come into town, they found rose-wreathed revellers bound from house to house, leaning from windows and balconies, who listened to the song of Iranon and tossed him flowers, and applauded when he was done. Then, for a moment, did Iranon believe he had found those who thought and felt even as he, though the town was not 100th as fair as Aria. When dawn came, Iranon looked about with dismay, for the domes of Onai were not golden in the sun, but grey and dismal. And the men of Unai were pale with revelling and dull with wine, and unlike the radiant men of Aria. But because the people had thrown him blossoms and acclaimed his songs, Iranon stayed on, and with him Romnod, who liked the revelry of the town, wore his dark hair with roses and myrtle. Often at night Iranon sang to the revellers, but he was always as before, crowned only in the vine of the mountains, and remembering the marble streets of Aria and the high line of Naratha. In the fresh-coed halls of the monarch did he sing, upon the crystal dais raised over the floor that was a mirror, and as he sang, he brought pictures to his hearers, till the floors seemed to reflect old, beautiful, and half-remembered things, instead of the wine-reddened feasters who pelted him with roses. And the king bade him put away his tattered purple, and clothed him in satin and cloth of God, with rings of jade and bracelets of tinted ivory, and lodged him in a gilded and tapestried chamber, on a bed of sweet cavern wood, with canopies and coverlets of flower-embroidered silk. Thus dwelt Iranon in Onai, the city of lutes and dancing. It is not known how long Iranon tarried in Onai, but one day the king brought to the palace some wild, whirling dancers from the Lyrian desert, and dusky flute players from Drenai in the east. And after the revellers threw their roses, not so much at Iranon, but at the dancers and the flute players, and day by day that Romnod, who had been a small boy in the granite Teloth, grew coarser and redder with wine, till he dreamed less and less, and listened with less delight to the songs of Iranon. But though Iranon was sad, he ceased not to sing, and at evening told again of his dreams of Aria and the marble and beryl city. Then one night the red and fattened Romnod snorted heavily amidst the poppied silks of his banquet couch, and died, writhing, whilst Iranon, pale and slender, sang to himself in a far corner. And when Iranon wept over the grave of Romnod, and strewn it with green budding branches, as Romnod used to love, he put aside his silks and gauds, and went forgotten out of Onai, the city of lutes, dancing, clad only in his ragged purple, in which he had come, and garlanded with fresh vines from the mountains. Into the sunset wandered Iranon, seeking still for his native land, and for men who would understand and cherish his songs and dreams. In all the cities of Siderathia, and in the lands beyond the Basnak desert, gay-faced children laughed at his olden songs, with tattered robes of purple, but Iranon stayed ever young, and wore wreaths upon his golden head, as he sang of Aria, delight of the past and hope of the future. So he came one night to the squalid cot of an antique shepherd, bent and dirty, who kept lean flocks on a stony slope above a quicksand marsh. To this man Iranon spoke, as to so many others.
Canst thou tell me where I may find Aria, the city of marble and beryl, where flows the high line of Nithra, and where falls the tiny Kra sing in verdant valleys, and hills forested with yath trees?
And the shepherd, hearing, looked long and strangely at Iranon, as if recalling something very far away in time. He noted each line of the stranger's face, and his golden hair, and his crown of vine leaves. But he was old, and shook his head as he replied, "O stranger, I have indeed heard the name, Arath, and other names thou hast spoken, but they come to me from afar, down the waste of long years. I have heard them in my youth, from the lips of a playmate. a beggar boy given to strange dreams, who would weave long tales about the moon and the flowers and the west wind. We used to laugh at him, for we knew him from his birth, though he thought himself a king's son. He was comely, even as thou, but full of folly and strangeness, and he had run away when small to find those who would listen gladly to his songs and dreams. How often hath he sung to me of lands that never were, and things that could never be. Of Aria he did speak much, of Aria and the river Nethra and the tiny falls of Kra. There would he ever say he once dwelt as a prince, though here we knew him from his birth. Nor was there ever a marble city of Aria, nor those who could delight in strange songs, save in the dreams of my old playmate, Iranon, who is gone. And in the twilight, as the stars came out, one by one, and the moon cast on the marsh a radiance like that which a child sees quivering on the floor as he is rocked to sleep at the evening, there walked into the lethal quicksands a very old man, tattered in purple, crowned with withered vine leaves, and gazing ahead as if upon the golden domes of a fair city where dreams are understood. That night, something of youth and beauty died in the elder world. The end. That concludes our tale for this week, my friend. Please return next week and we will continue with another short story by H.P. Lovecraft. If you wish to rest some more, please find a space that suits you, whether you curl up by the fire, partake in some food and beverages in our kitchen, take a nap in one of our many rooms, or take a stroll around the garden. Please know you are always welcome at Sniper's Rest, my friend. If you are continuing your journey, the multiverse has some wonderful little adventures this week. To the north. So you've found yourself in the middle of space after a catastrophic explosion surrounded by debris. Somehow you survived, along with a chicken? Well, I suppose you should probably figure out how to get out of here. Good luck! To the west, it's spa day for all the animals of the mountain. Create the perfect, most wonderful little cozy spa retreat and befriend all sorts of cool and cute mountain creatures in this cozy part of the multiverse. To the east, the world of cartography awaits. A violent storm separates you from your family, and you must use all your mapping skills to get back to them. Rearrange the world around you to unlock new paths and meet new people. Have fun! And if you are making your own way out there, good luck, my friend, wherever you end up, wherever you come from and wherever you're going. Thank you for spending some time here with us at Sniper's Rest. Remember to take care of yourself, be kind to others, hydrate, take a moment to look out into the world and marvel at how incredible it all is. How incredible you are, friend. Until next time, please take care on your way.